We're going to go through 10 of the most popular stocks on Wall Street Bets this week and a few bonus ones as well. So stay tuned as we go through all of these stocks. So let's start first with the market, the S&P 500. This is where I always start every week because the move of every stock is going to be determined by how strong the market is acting. Now, what I circled right here, this red candle, is where we were last weekend when I did these weekend update videos. And if you remember at the time, and the receipts are on YouTube, I said, listen, we are in a bearish downtrend at this moment. Your 10 EMA is under the 20 EMA and price is under the 50 EMA. That's not a great thing. That is absolutely what a bearish trend consists of. But I also said, we don't make predictions around here. There are lots of channels on YouTube that'll tell you, oh, this stock's going to go to $500 or this stock's going to go to zero or whatever. We don't do that. All we do is look at the trends and follow the directions they're going. And on a very low volume week, this was during Thanksgiving week. Look at the volume difference compared to every other week. On a low volume week, you can see a big move up like this. Now, why on a low volume week can you see big moves? The reason being is pretty simple, right? If there's more buyers in a market and more sellers in the market, they don't have to go very far in order to buy and sell the stock based on price, right? But if there's less buyers and there's less sellers, my price may be significantly farther away than what you want to sell it for. So you're going to have to move your price up quite a bit. That's the real reason why in a low volume week, you can see moves kind of like this. Now, we're going to set a 10-minute timer. We're going to go through the top 10 stocks over on Wall Street Bets. And then let me restart that right there. And then I'm going to give you a few bonus ones. So the S&P 500, the 10 is over the 20 now. Price is over the 50 as of Friday, running right up to this order block right here. We'll see if it has enough movement, enough interest behind it to push it up higher. But we're going to start with the market here. And all we can see when we look at the market indices are three big sell signals. So going into the S&P 500, we can see right here, the trend is reversing as of Friday. The signal is still sitting on a sell, and breadth has improved quite a bit this week. Lots of bullish sectors. Once this loads in, yeah, lots of bullish sectors. And if I zoom in on breadth, you can see right here, this crossover means that we're getting more and more buy signals and less sell signals. That's where we want to be. But also down here, this is also very promising as well. More and more uptrends, less and less downtrends. That's what that represents right here with the green and the red. So the market hasn't quite turned yet, but the trend, the signal, and the breadth are getting really close to all being bullish. And that's great because when we look at any stock in particular, 40% of the move is due to the market, 30% due to the sector, and 30% due to the stock itself. So looking at Nvidia to start off right here, the number one stock on Reddit, we can see the trend, signal, and breadth. This will update by Monday. The trend, signal, and breadth is going to be 2 of 3 that are green. Now we go into the sector. We can see the sector actually is moving up on the fear and greed level. So it's getting less fearful, more greedy. Has almost that breadth crossover. Maybe by Monday it'll be there. And then we still have the sell signal on the stock on Nvidia, which has been really helpful, right? From right around probably close to $200 right there down to 180 has happened to Nvidia. In fact, I was looking at the S&P 500 map. This is just over the last week. So many big green numbers on here, and Nvidia, it looks like the one of 5 stocks that went down for the week. Pretty crazy, right? Either way, Nvidia still sitting on that sell signal, still getting more fearful. And that's pretty interesting, right? When the biggest stock or one of the biggest stocks out in the market is super fearful. Let's go look at the chart. There's that sell signal in place, and you can see the trend just moving down and down and down. Now, also for you Nvidia bulls out there, you'll notice right here, this order block, which has really shown some significant improvement right here. This looks like some very strong support down here at 173.25 or so. So that may be where the bottom comes through. We don't actually know where the bottom will be, but we can work with the trend and let that show us which direction it's going to go. We're already 7 minutes, or we're already 3 minutes deep. I've only covered the S&P and Nvidia so far. I gotta move faster. All right. So Meta still sitting on a sell signal. This is in the communication sector, getting a little bit less greedy. I'm sorry, a little bit less fearful, and breadth has crossed over. So this sector, the communication sector, which is the one with Google, Meta, Netflix, etc., this actually looks a lot better of a sector, more uptrends as well, and a little bit less downtrends. So when we look at the Meta charts, yeah, it's not quite got that bullish trend yet. Remember, the 10 going over the 20, price going over the 50 is what we want to see. And it did push through this order block right here, which is good. So in Meta, it's off to a great start, but we don't know if it's going to continue up further. Of course, right now, this is still in a downtrend. We'll have to see if it resolves itself. How about the next one, right? We went through Nvidia, went through the S&P. Let's go to Google next. Google's been crazy. Google's been the one stock. Yeah, I know it's Alphabet. Shut up. Google's been the one stock that has been running like crazy lately, running like crazy when everything else in the market has been really struggling. And it just got a new buy signal today, if you can believe that. Nearly everything lit up on outlier 9, all 7 of 9. The trend will change, so it'll be 8 of 9, potentially trend or signal change on Monday. Who knows? That could make it a 9 of 9. So of everything we've seen so far, maybe for the whole day, Google looks really, really, really strong. And nothing on top of it right here. Now, when a stock is hitting new all-time highs, that's bullish AF. It's bullish AF because nobody who's ever bought the stock ever in the history of time and is still holding it right now is down on money. Every single owner of it is up money. That's what we see right here. And if they're all up money, nobody's waiting to get out of break even, right? Nobody's waiting on top to be a seller. Let's look at MicroStrategy. I don't know why MicroStrategy is on here, but it is. MicroStrategy is a terrible stock. Look at this. From that sell signal way back here, it's been going down like crazy. In fact, I think nothing has changed in the last week. Yeah, how much is it down? Basically 45% since the sell signal came right here. Now, looking at a chart like this is why we don't make predictions, okay? Because all we can see is that the 10 is under the 20, price is under the 50, and it's moving down. Could the market have done this? Yes, of course. But we can't see the future, right? So we're just following the trend, and the trend for MicroStrategy is down. Just like how the trend for Google is up. And the trend for the market has changed right here. So you got to just take what the market is giving you. Don't force your opinions onto the market and just listen to what it's telling you. Let's go to the next one here. Intel, right? Another tech stock with the breadth still bearish, but the fear and greed going up. And it's currently sitting on a sell signal. Where did that sell signal come? Sell signal came way back here on October 9th, and it's been drifting sideways ever since then. And you can see right here, the sector is getting less fear and greed, where the stock is getting, less fear, and the whole stock itself right here is getting less greed. So Nvidia, I should say Intel, not really showing the same trend as the sector. However, look at that one chart or one bar that's come through. Huge move up. Now, I do see order block city right here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 order blocks stacked right on top of Intel. And this is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see this because everybody who's owned stocks, let's zoom out even farther. Here we go. Everybody who's owned stocks at this point and is still holding it is looking to get out at that level. That's why they show up on the charts like this. Now, you can get your charts to look exactly the same as mine over at outlier.com on our Discord. We have a free script, and you can use a free trading view plan to get your charts to look exactly the same as mine. I just noticed I have 3 minutes left. Where has the time gone? Let's go to CME Group. CME Group got a sell signal, and I was like, what happened? Oh, there was an outage last week. So CME Group got on the board on I guess Thursday or Friday on Wall Street Bets. But yeah, it's got a sell signal, just like a lot of these stocks that we're looking at right now. But the chart, not the worst chart I've ever seen. Right, you still got a bullish trend, but you do have a lot of overhead order blocks. Let's keep going. Tesla, right? Sell signals still, so many sell signals going on. But the sector, the discretionary sector, is showing a lot of promise here. More uptrends, less downtrends, bullish crossover, getting more greedy. Tesla stock getting more greedy. If this flips from a sell to a buy, Tesla could actually be a really good place because it's got a little bit further to go to get that bullish trend started. And again, it does have that overhead order block right there. Overhead order block means overhead sellers. We got 2 minutes left. I got to hustle. DTE Energy. I don't know why it's here, but it's here. Let's take a look at it. Oh, this looks terrible. 2 of 9. Bearish trend, getting more fearful. The sector getting more fearful. The sector has bearish breadth. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would be interested in DTE Energy, even though it's number 10 on the board, right? Then let's do AMD, right? I counted 10 stocks plus the S&P 500. So AMD makes number 11 on the list here. And AMD, I don't know, it's not looking all that great either. AMD had some issues, didn't it, last week where some news came out? So you got your 10 under 20 price under 50, but it's getting really close to being back to a neutral trend right here. But that sell-off came November 11th was the sell signal that was right here. Now, how far has it gone down since then? Only 10%. Only 10% down on, and I'm being sarcastic there. AMD gone down 10%. So the thing is that on stocks like this is that you can avoid the downtrends. You don't have to hold them in the downtrends. In fact, you can get out of the way, let the downtrend resolve itself, and then get back in and ride the uptrends like this from this buy to this sell signal without having to stress about it. Let's go to a couple bonus stocks that weren't in the top 10, but I know you're interested in, like Palantir, right? Sell signal here on November 7th. In fact, let's go to Palantir real quick. Sell signal on November 7th. Right? No way. No, that's the top. Okay, hang on. November. I was going to say the actual top was the sell signal. No. November 7th, right here. That was the sell signal. So definitely still sitting on that sell signal. You don't want to miss out on that. And it's getting more and more greedy. However, or more and more fearful. It may have bottomed. I have 1 minute. No, I have 21 seconds left. Oh my gosh. It may have bottomed right there and it's starting to come back up on the greed. So we'll have to see about that. SoFi, you know what? I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. That's okay. We got really close though. SoFi, let's take a look at SoFi. I don't want to cut you SoFi bros off. That's why I stopped. Okay. So the sector, bullish sector with the fear and greed and the breadth, SoFi bros for life. You know, SoFi only goes one direction and the sector is getting more greedy. The sector has a bullish crossover on breadth and the stock itself is getting more bullish as well on the greed right here. So SoFi actually has some legs. Let's go look at the chart real quick. Yeah, SoFi has some legs. So if we can do this crossover, that'll be a great start. Now, again, this was in a bearish trend, right? And like we talked about with MicroStrategy and Google, the trend will go on as long as it wants to. We don't get to it. We don't get to determine when the change in the trend happens. We just need to be market aware and follow that trend when it does. And then lastly is Robinhood, same sector. Wait, yeah, both of these are still sitting on sell signals. Same sector, getting less fearful, a little bit more greedy, and the stock is as well. So listen, we covered a ton. You can get access to the software, outlier.com, for only 82 cents a day. And if this has been useful to you, you can save time, make money, and start winning with less risk by clicking one of these two videos and have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon.